Today I'm going to explain my leadership experience and how it translates into not only my communication style, but everything I do. Sonar con, going deep. Con sonar I. Dive, make your depth 575 feet. Smartly. Make my depth 575 feet smartly. I. Helm all ahead standard. Maneuvering answers ahead standard. Full dive on the Fairwater Plains, 10 down on the stern planes, make your depth 575 feet. 100, 150, 200, 300, 400, 500, 575 feet. Off the deck at 575 feet. Dive I. What you've seen there is a great example of one of the three leadership styles which I exhibit, the authoritative style. This works really well on places like nuclear submarines, which are extremely procedurally and process-driven. To make everything work, you have to do things in a very specific order in a very specific time frame. While that works well in that type of environment, in my experience, it does not work as well in the technology environment which I work in or in the Toastmasters environment. If you need to do that upon occasion, that's okay if somebody really doesn't know. But it's much better, I believe, to exhibit the other two styles that I exhibit, which are altruistic and democratic. Altruistic style is basically helping people reach and achieve goals. This works well when you're helping new people get started, both in the technology world and in the Toastmasters world. The democratic style also works very well. What that does for you is allow people to learn how to do things and help them grow, but still help them head in the right direction. In my career, it was very interesting because I once worked in the most secretive place on earth, except for a couple. To give you an example of what I mean by that, you had the U.S. Navy, then you had the submarine service, often called the silent service, and then you had the place that I worked, where everyone from the commanding officer down to the cook's helper all had top secret clearances with special background investigations, meaning that in the 80s, they would spend $80,000 a year to investigate you, plus we all had to take polygraphs for counterintelligence. Well, I can't really go into more of it than that. I was happy not to take polygraphs when I finished, and it was the most decorated ship in the history of the U.S. Navy. One of the things that Toastmasters has really helped me with in both the leadership and the communication style is to become a much more focused communicator and a much more focused leader. I was already kind of organized. Toastmasters made that even better. It also helps me tremendously here in my job at SFO as a cybersecurity project director. Being able to coordinate and focus teams to accomplish goals is a large part of what we do here. And in many cases, the people that we're working with are not people who report to us. So it's a group team, and you have to understand that in many cases, what happens is the people with the expert knowledge are not the leaders or the managers or the project managers. Most of the time, they are the people who continually work on this stuff, more in the Navy's term, a deck plate level. It's often seen from my eyes that one of the best parts of the Toastmasters leadership and communication experience is that you really help other people grow. Like my friend Dennis says, practice in front of your friends, not in front of your boss. That's his elevator speech. Now, I've talked about a lot of different things here. I've talked about my 3 styles of leadership, which also includes communication. I've talked about my experience in the submarine service, as well as my experience in the work world and Toastmasters. I would like to leave you with one quick quote by a guy named John James. He's a former great University of Washington football coach. When asked why his players play so hard, he said there were 3 reasons. First, they play hard because their coaches tell them to. Second, they play hard because their teammates expect them to. And third, they just flat out want to see what they can do. And that is where I believe I am with my Toastmasters experience. Thank you.